Hello, and thank you for watching the first ever virtual sleepout. Although we miss the togetherness and the seeing our friends and our colleagues and our fundraisers all in the one place, I think this has been the next best thing. And now, to close the evening, I'd like to tell you a bedtime story. It's not very long, and I think you might enjoy it. This fairy tale is based on a true story, and the bits that aren't completely true should be. And it does have a sort of a happy ending. So, are you ready? Then I'll begin. Long, long ago, in a place far away, at least that's how it feels to me, I lived with my princess, and we were very happy together. My name is John, by the way. That's important. It's important to me. My name is John. Anyway, after a while living with my princess, whether it was because we were cursed, or maybe I started to turn into a frog, for whatever reason, our happiness began to disappear, and I had to leave the house. Our relationship broke down. The place I worked only paid me if they had work for me to do, and sometimes there wasn't any. So eventually, after yet another month of no work, it became clear to me that I was going to lose my flat. So I just decided to pack a few things in my rucksack, and I started walking. I walked and I walked through busy towns, quiet country roads, up hills and up mountains, and sometimes through very wet and very dark forests. I would try to find a safe place to sleep at night. That's away from busy public footpaths or away from pubs, because drunk people, you know, sometimes can be very unkind to rough sleepers. Once I was attacked and had bottles thrown at me. Can you imagine how scary that was? In the daytime, I would find the local library and I would sit and read whilst I charged up my phone. All the while, I knew that having my big rucksack was like an advertisement that I was homeless. It was embarrassing, and some people didn't like me just because I seemed homeless. I felt like I was turning into a frog. You know, when you're a frog, it's like a bad spiral begins to happen, and it went on for 2 years for me. Nowhere to live, nowhere safe or warm to sleep, no one to talk to, feeling stared at or feeling ignored, feeling invisible, feeling pointless. Like I didn't even have a name. And to crown it all, a tooth began to give me so much pain. I discovered that no dentist would help because I didn't have an address. Even if someone had bothered talking to me, I'm not sure I wanted to talk with them anyway. And sometimes I just thought, don't bother walking anymore. Just stop dead. I could remember my fairy tale with my princess, but that just makes it worse when you're in the middle of a nightmare. Very early, one June morning, in a town called Burton upon Trent, I was in a sort of sleep, half resting, half alert, in the doorway of a library. I suddenly awoke to see two big burly men standing near me. I had a shot of pain that went right through my skull, and I was frightened. It was bright, but it was cold, and oh so cold. I apologized for being there and said sorry for sleeping in the wrong place. I was able to jump up and quickly start packing things away, hoping that maybe if I did that quickly, they would leave me alone and they wouldn't shout at me, as always happens. Then one of the guys, who was so big and tall and towering over me, suddenly he got down on his hunkers. He told me that the YMCA helped rough sleepers in East Staffordshire. I presumed I must be in East Staffordshire then. And they told me that I could go to the YMCA that morning and have breakfast. And they said that whilst I was there, that I could see the place where every day I could get a hot drink, some food, work on the computer, wash my clothes, have a shower, and maybe even just sit and rest without fear of being moved on or being abused in the street. My name is John, and I didn't realise that I could do that. I thought you had to be invited to the YMCA. I didn't know it was also a self-referral service. You know what, listeners? I had the weirdest feeling and strangest thought. It was as if the king had sent his men to tell me to visit his castle. It was like I was put in touch with something that I hadn't felt for a long, long time. I felt courage. Isn't that strange? So, I, John, did go along, and I got talking to the support workers there who listened to what had happened to me and to what it was like. Helen, the support worker, helped me with what she called a housing assessment to see if I was eligible and suitable to live at the YMCA. What she called a housing assessment, I called a dose of really difficult questions that made my head hurt, and that blooming tooth didn't help. But in the end it all paid off, because 2 days later I had keys to my own room. My own room. You know what? It felt like having my own little castle. Okay, a one-room castle, but it felt so safe. The relief, I slept like never before, even though it took me a while to get used to having 4 walls around me. You know, if I'm honest, 1 bedroom was quite enough for me. I'm not sure I would even have enjoyed a multi-room castle. I share a bathroom and kitchen facilities. Me, who was alone for so long, sharing with people, and they know my name. Because I had an address, I could now register and go to a dentist. Finally, I got that tooth sorted out. The years I spent on the streets, as I think I might have indicated, have taken their toll, and I also registered at the doctor's to get help with my mental health. I didn't want to be seen, or even to see myself, as a frog anymore. I wanted to be just John. So now I'm in a much, much better place, both physically and mentally, and my spirit is healing too. I'm so much more fully human. But even so, and you're not allowed to laugh at this, as much as I hated that rucksack, I can't bring myself to throw it away, just in case. So I keep it in the corner of my little one-room castle. I thank you so much for allowing me to tell you my story and for having me visit in your castle. Now, John, I'm completely exhausted talking, and I'm so tired. I think I'll just go off and have a night's sleep. I hope you can sleep safely.